All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. And today we're looking at kind of a darker period in Taylor Swift's career. We're talking about the Reputation era. We've got a stack of YouTube videos, even a couple of biographies. And we're going to kind of unpack how she went from America's sweetheart to, being called a snake online and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it is a fascinating period because it's about reinvention. It's about taking control of your own narrative. And we see how Swift took all this public negativity, all this intense media scrutiny, and turned it into fuel for her creative fire.
So how do you go from being America's sweetheart to Public Enemy #1 and then create a hit album out of it?
Well, I think to understand that, we need to go back to the beginning. Swift's early work, her music was incredibly relatable. Those early songs really captured just universal teenage experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she was that girl next door writing songs in her bedroom about first love and high school drama. And that authenticity and vulnerability really connected with fans, especially young girls.
And what's interesting is that she initially focused on country music, which wasn't exactly known for catering to a teenage girl demographic at the time.
Yeah. It's like she found this untapped market and just blew up.
And built this massive and loyal following.
Yeah, she was like this breath of fresh air in the country scene. And speaking of blowing up, remember her first album? I mean, it had so many hits. Like one would go to #1 and another would be right there coming up behind it.
A hit machine, yeah. And it's important to remember this is all happening while she is literally growing up in the public eye. Think about the pressure.
I can't even imagine. Like every relationship, every little mistake amplified and scrutinized by the media. Oh, and then there's the 2009 VMAs. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Kanye West interrupting her acceptance speech. That sparked a global controversy.
Right, and it really put Swift in this difficult position.
Trial by fire, yeah.
She handled it with such grace and composure.
Yeah, she didn't lash out. She didn't stoop to his level. She held her head high and just let her talent speak for itself. I mean, even President Obama weighed in on that, remember?
He did. He called Kanye a jackass.
Yeah, and it's serious when the president is commenting on a celebrity feud.
For sure. And, it kind of shows how Swift was now viewed. I mean, she wasn't just a talented singer-songwriter anymore. She was a figure of public interest.
Yeah, and subject to even more pressure and scrutiny. And let's not forget that through all of this, she's still evolving as an artist.
Right.
Her music is maturing, she's experimenting with new sounds, and she's taking more control creatively. Remember, early on, she got some criticism for working with co-writers.
Oh, yeah.
So she went and wrote her entire third album, Speak Now, completely solo.
That was a statement for sure.
It was like she was saying, hey, I am a songwriter.
Absolutely, and it paid off.
It really did. And it's amazing to think that people were still discovering her first album years later.
Talk about staying power. It's incredible how her music has this timeless quality, and it just keeps resonating with fans, new and old.
Yeah, and that was key as she started to transition from country to mainstream pop.
It was a gradual shift.
It was. We saw hints of it in Red. But 1989, that was her self-proclaimed first official pop album.
A big risk.
A huge risk, but clearly she had a plan.
She did, and she used social media brilliantly. I mean, she gave fans this glimpse into her personality. It built a real connection.
She was so ahead of the curve in understanding the power of social media, and it worked. I mean, 1989 was a phenomenon. Nearly 1.3 million copies sold in the first week in the U.S. It outsold every album in the previous 12 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. But as we know, her career wasn't always smooth sailing. And this is where we get to the events that set the stage for Reputation. The Kim Kardashian-Kanye West phone call leak.
Ugh, things were about to get messy.
Yeah, and the social media backlash that followed, I mean, it was intense.
This wasn't just a celebrity feud anymore. It felt like a public trial.
And the court of public opinion turned on her pretty quickly.
It did. Like overnight, she went from America's sweetheart to, being labeled a snake.
That's right. And it's important to remember this was all happening while she was also dealing with a lawsuit from a radio host who had groped her.
Oh, yeah. Talk about a double whammy.
It was a lot to handle.
It really was. So she decided to retreat from the public eye, lay low for a while.
And it was a smart move. I mean, she needed time to regroup, to reflect, to channel all that negativity,
And that's exactly what she did. She went dark, off the radar completely. And when she reemerged, it was with Reputation.
And Reputation, it wasn't just a new album. It was like a complete transformation, darker, edgier,
Yeah, it was a statement for sure.
Like she was taking all that pain and anger, all that negativity, and turning it into something powerful.
And sonically, it was such a departure from her previous work. I mean, she's got synth pop, hip hop.
Even some EDM influences, you know?
Yeah, it was like a whole new Taylor Swift.
And she was holding nothing back.
No, she wasn't.
The lyrics were raw, vulnerable,
Right.
and at times vengeful even.
Yeah.
It was like she was finally confronting her critics, head on.
Yeah, like addressing all the rumors and the betrayals and the public takedowns. And remember the snake imagery
Oh, yeah.
that had been used to, like, attack her?
Right.
She turned it into a symbol of power.
Exactly. It was brilliant.
It was,
Reclaiming the narrative.
yeah. And remember, she had disappeared from the public eye for almost a year.
Right.
So there was all this anticipation, all this mystery surrounding this comeback.
Yeah.
And then Reputation drops. And it was like a cultural explosion.
It was an event.
Yeah.
Not just an album release.
It wasn't.
And the music itself was a reflection of all that intensity.
Yeah.
I mean, take the lead single, Look What You Made Me Do.
Oh, that was a clapback for sure.
It was a dark, brooding anthem, like a direct response to all that negativity.
Yeah, and that music video, packed with symbolism, referencing all those controversies and feuds. It was like she was saying, I see you, and I'm not backing down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the whole album explores these themes of revenge, betrayal, and ultimately finding strength in the face of adversity.
Right.
It's a raw and honest look at what it's like to be in the public eye and have your reputation just torn apart.
Yeah, but through it all, she never lost that connection with her fans.
If anything, it solidified it.
Yeah.
And, that's what's so remarkable about her career. No matter what she goes through, no matter how public the drama gets, she always comes back to her music and her fans.
They went on this journey with her.
Yeah.
Through the darkness and back into the light.
It's true. And, Reputation wasn't just about reclaiming her narrative. It was also about owning her music.
Oh, yeah. Literally.
Literally.
Like, this is where the Scooter Braun and Big Machine Records saga comes in.
Yes.
And she was very vocal about, how important it is for artists to own their master recordings. And when her catalog was sold without her consent, I mean, she felt betrayed.
It was a huge blow, especially after everything she'd been through.
It was.
But she didn't just, sit back and accept it.
Oh, no, she didn't. She went into warrior mode.
She did.
And she publicly called out Braun and the music industry in general,
Yeah.
sparking this huge conversation about artists' rights.
And it resonated with so many other artists who'd been through similar situations.
It did.
She became a symbol of empowerment,
Yeah.
Showing that even the biggest stars can stand up for themselves and their work.
Yeah, exactly. And then the re-recordings.
A re-recording.
I mean, brilliant.
Genius.
She decided to re-record her whole back catalog
Yeah.
to, take back control of her music.
Effectively taking control. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just a smart business move. It was a way to reclaim her artistic legacy, too.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, she went back and meticulously recreated those albums. Some people argue the re-recordings are even better than the originals.
Oh, I've heard that too. They're definitely more mature, more nuanced. You can hear the growth in her voice, the experience. It's like she's reclaiming those songs, giving them new meaning.
And the fans were ecstatic. It was like reliving those early eras,
Yeah.
but with this new appreciation for her artistry and her resilience.
Yeah. It was a powerful message to the music industry. Like, you can't silence me. You can't erase my legacy. I own my story. And I own my music. It's pretty amazing, right? I mean, through all of that, the ups and downs, the scrutiny, the industry battles, she just kept creating.
Yeah, and she came out of that Reputation era even stronger, more determined than ever.
Yeah, it's a testament to her resilience, that's for sure. It would have been so easy to just, retreat from it all, let the negativity win.
But she didn't. She used it all as fuel, as inspiration.
Yeah, she turned that darkness into, a superpower. And you see it in everything she's done since Reputation, from her record-breaking tours to more recent albums like Lover and Folklore.
Right, and those albums showed a different side of her, more introspective, more vulnerable even.
Yeah, like she was exploring new depths.
Pushing her creative boundaries.
And doing it all on her own terms, which is so important. And remember when she left Big Machine Records?
Yeah.
And signed that new deal with Republic Records? That gave her ownership of her masters going forward.
That was huge.
Yeah, it was a game changer for her, and I think for a lot of other artists watching.
Right. It set a precedent, showing you can negotiate for your rights, you can maintain control.
And it's inspiring. She's become this role model, showing young artists that you can be successful.
Yeah.
Without having to compromise your values or your vision.
Yeah, and it's not just about the music either. I mean, she's a vocal advocate for social justice. She speaks out against inequality.
She's using her platform to make a difference.
Inspiring a whole generation of fans to stand up for what they believe in.
She's more than just a singer-songwriter now. She's a cultural icon.
And it all goes back to that reputation era, that moment where she decided to take control, to rewrite her own story.
Yeah, it's a powerful reminder that we all have the ability to overcome challenges, to rise above the negativity, to come out stronger on the other side.
So what stands out to you most about her journey through reputation?
I think for me, it's that reminder that sometimes what seems like a setback, a public humiliation even, can actually be a catalyst for growth, for transformation. It's about taking those negative experiences and using them.
To fuel your creativity, your passion.
Yeah, your purpose.
That's a great takeaway. It makes you wonder what seemingly negative experiences in your own life might hold the seeds of similar transformation.
Yeah, what challenges have you faced that forced you to kind of redefine yourself, to reevaluate your priorities, to come out stronger? It's definitely something to think about. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Taylor Swift's reputation era.
It's been a pleasure exploring this fascinating chapter with you.
And remember, no matter what you're going through, you always have the power to rewrite your own story.
Voice